welcome to Block Leaders Show with me, Gillian Gottsell, where I talk to some of the most amazing people in the Web3 space. And today is no exception. My guest today is Josh Hardy, co-founder of Rainlang. Josh, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is super. Okay, so you're an Australian now living in London, but I was going through your LinkedIn, and I love this. You did a degree in psychological science. What on earth is psychological science?
It's basically it's not that exciting. It's just the undergraduate version of psychology. So it's what you do when you do the undergrad degree and don't do your master's.
Okay, and but why is the word science attached to it?
I'm not sure. Maybe because they didn't want to say it was a psychology degree because they want you to do the master's before they'll give you that title.
And
I think
I
that
was I was Googling and it said that it was to do with data. It was more reliance on data than on people. I think that's what I picked up from it.
okay. I mean, I definitely did learn a lot about stats doing that course, but
Mm,
I don't, as far as I know, there was no, it's not it's not different to doing psychology. It's just
okay.
the
Okay.
first bit you do.
Well,
Yeah.
I ask a question then. What do you think, having studied psychological science, a branch of psychology, what does that bring to your day job then? Having studied the thinking, psychology is how people think, isn't it? It's the thinking, understanding the thinking of people.
Yeah. I mean, psychology is it's a pretty
Mm,
broad field of study. Everything from, psychoanalysis, which is a lot looser, all the way to really highly empirical stats-based stuff, with a bunch of philosophy thrown in. So, I mean, there's so many theories. I think someone else, the other sciences don't really consider it a science because
yeah.
because it is so loose. But that said, learn a lot of, I did learn a lot about the scientific method doing it.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting because I did like history and English in my
Mhm.
primary degree, and people would say, what good is that? What I was doing, people say, what good is that? And I'm going, well, I love history, I love English, I love writing, and now I'm in Web3, so I'm not quite sure. That it was a bit of a circuitous route, I have to say, but a lot of
Right.
the things that I learned along the way are valuable to me now, including the writing, obviously, of course, which I
Yeah.
love. Anyway, so back to you. So tell me a bit about your early jobs. You were involved in startups and with data and tell me about some of the more interesting jobs you had out of college.
Uh, yeah. So when I was at David Meister, who I work with now in Rain, we came out of uni and we started a business making websites. We actually started because we were in a band together, and
Ooh,
he started working on the band's MySpace, and then that led to a complete love affair with programming, which is how we've ended up where we've ended up. But that's how we started. And so yeah, we had a company, we were making websites, and then we did that for a few years in Melbourne. We were building different web apps, so we were learning about, just about what it is to build products and a lot of what it is to work with clients, the part we didn't like.
mm.
And then we ended up shutting that business down, and then I went into music for a few years and tried.
Oh, playing
That's
as an
that's
artist.
how as an artist and a songwriter. That's how I ended up in London. Uh,
Ah,
yeah,
what type of genre of music were you are you involved with?
it was like electronic-y indie pop. Yeah,
Okay, and did you play an instrument or did you
I do. I
sing?
play. Yeah, I mean, I've always played piano.
Okay, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And that's how you came to London was to get into the cool Britannia scene.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I was living in Berlin, and then I was coming to London and working with different writers and producers in London, and then I ended up moving here, and
Okay,
then I just haven't left.
okay. So tell me then, when did you first discover about Bitcoin and blockchain, Web3, all that type of stuff? Had that happened earlier or did it happen while you were in London?
I mean, I'd heard about it in the earliest days. I wasn't really massively into it. Like I was dabbling in David Meister, my friend. I know he was mining it. Um, but I was sort of like peripherally interested. And then after I stopped, came out of music, I started delving a bit more into it. And I'd had like a kind of bad experience in the music industry. And I was interested originally in other ways that I could have raised funds to do music that wasn't like the traditional label relationship. And so I wanted to build a prototype for tokenizing music royalties. and I asked my friend Dave, "Hey, can you help me build this?" And he said, "No, go learn yourself." So,
Tough friend, but he was right,
yeah,
was he? Because you learned yourself.
yeah. So then I went and did like a couple of the classic Solidity courses and stuff, and
Mm.
basically learned how to start building stuff, building smart contract stuff and front ends, and then yeah, we ended up working. Once I did that, then he was like, "Hey, we can work together on something else," and then him and David were working on something. They said, "You should join us and work on this thing," and then that developed into what we have now.
Okay, right. That's very interesting, and I love your friend David telling you to go and learn yourself. He's dead
Yeah,
right, because if you hadn't have done it, you wouldn't be where you are now, and had a co-founder of Rainlang, which is why we're here talking.
right. And one of the things about Rainlang is basically not underestimating people's capacity. It's saying like we believe that if we can lower the bar for people to be able to do this stuff for themselves, then people will be able to. That people people have the capacity to do more. We don't have to basically do everything for people, and we don't have to ask them to sacrifice all of their sovereignty and security to do for
Uh,
that.
so it's
Yeah,
actually part of that philosophy again, of
yeah.
David's, which is interesting. Okay, so how would you describe Rainlang to a 6-year-old or a 16-year-old?
So yeah, 6 year old. Um, do they know anything about blockchain, or am I starting from scratch?
No, I'll make it easy. Describe Rainlang to a Web3 audience who haven't come across Rainlang as yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Who may also be six.
Yes,
Um,
possible.
so Rainlang is it's a smart contract language,
Okay.
and it's designed to be easier to read and easier to write. So our goal is to make far more people smart contract devs, people who maybe thought they would never be able to write a smart contract and they would always have to rely on developers, that they themselves can become the developer in the same way that people who are great with Excel and can write, you know, write spreadsheet formulas and build complex models and spreadsheets. They may not consider themselves programmers. They might say, "Oh, I'm just a financial analyst, or I'm an
Mm,
accountant, or I work in management, or whatever." But they actually are programmers because they're using a programming language, which Excel formulas are, even though it's simple. So our goal is to target that whole audience, that level of people, and say, yeah, not literally everyone. Maybe not the 6 year old is going to become a smart contract dev,
mm.
but a whole bunch of people who previously couldn't now can.
Okay. And being able to write smart contracts means people can write apps on the blockchain. Is that kind of the push for it, or?
Yeah, so we're really focusing on kind of the more uh like smart contracts are apps, yes, but there's also the idea of them just literally being smart contracts, agreements between people about like programmable money. And so Rainlang really, I think, is fulfilling that promise more so than it's trying to say you can build any app you want. It's saying, like, for example, Raindex is the first use case that we're working on. And so in
Mm,
that case, we're saying that you can write on-chain trading strategies. So usually if you want to trade on chain, you go to an AMM and there's a fixed curve, the famous, X times Y equals K. That's one equation that everyone uses because nobody has the ability to write a smart contract that does anything else. So they're forced to use that curve. We're saying, what if we could lower the bar so you're not writing the whole smart contract, but
mm,
you can just write the curve. And you can write the curve in an easier language than Solidity. You can write the curve in something that looks more like writing an Excel formula. So now you can define for yourself what trades you're willing to make. And so that's what Raindex is. Raindex is saying you can come and you can write an algorithm, write a formula that will express the trades that you're willing to make over time.
okay. So that's like you're targeting people who are saying who are using Excel spreadsheets. That would be your audience. So there's financial nous there. There's maybe trading nous, but it's being able to use their financial and combine it then with the trading strategies that they can write the smart contracts. So why did you choose the Flare ecosystem? What happened there? How did you get introduced?
Yeah, so I mean, literally the relationship was with Max from Flair. I don't know
Oh,
if you know. Yeah,
yes, I know Max. Yeah,
yeah, love Max, and Max also has a background in music, and so we
yes, he
connected.
does.
Yeah, so we connected over that initially.
Yeah.
Um, And then yeah, I just really like Max, and we got along, and yeah, it was really exciting what they're doing, and the oracles thing that they were like the FTSO USP that they have to me fit really well with this idea of bringing of lowering the bar for people to have access to smart contracts because the FTSOs currently well before Rain they would only be used by devs. So people who are building protocols on Flare can, if they've got the ability, they can write into their smart contracts use of the oracles.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can use it for lending protocols, could use it for liquidation prices, et cetera, et cetera. But what I saw was that we can write a word in Rainlang which gets the oracle price. So now every user can now become a direct user of the FTSOs. So suddenly the user base for the FTSOs directly becomes way bigger. It's not just the
Okay.
devs. Yeah, it's anyone who wants to write a strategy. So we've got a bunch of examples already up that use those FTSOs
And
example
when
strategy.
so Rain Dex, when I read it first, I thought, oh, it's a Dex, but it's not a Dex. It's an app where people can write their own strategies.
It's both. It
Oh,
actually
it's
is a
both.
DEX. Is a DEX because there's no centralized element. So we're not an intermediary. Um, so it's everything smart contracts. The language itself is interpreted on chain by smart contract. It's passed by smart contract. So the whole stack of the language and the contract that actually handles holding the orders and moving the tokens around, all of that's on chain. And then the app is like an interface for it.
Okay. And is it live yet? Sorry, is it or is it in
It's
beta
live,
still?
yeah. Mhm.
It's live.
Yep.
So how many users do you have on Rain Dex?
I'm not sure of the exact number. There's quite a few people that have been playing around on Flare. We saw
Mm.
it's only been a few weeks, but over the weekend we saw someone, we don't know who they are, it's all anonymous, but we saw someone mucking about and trying out some different strategies, which is cool. And we've just launched a trading competition. So it's a competition for people writing trading strategies. And so we've had quite a few people come in and start playing around with stuff.
Because the prizes are quite good, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, the top prize is 5,000.
Mm. That's not bad.
Worth $5,000 worth of FLR. Yeah, which is
Mm.
it's a good prize. And then yeah, so it's just judged on there's no minimum that you have to put into your strategy. You do have to deploy it with real money, but there's no minimum. It can be a tiny amount just to show that it really works. But it's being judged on creativity, uh, ingenuity. Yeah,
And how long is that running for?
it's running for 3 weeks total, and it started on Tuesday, so just under 3 weeks.
Ooh. And how many people do you expect will compete? Do you have any idea? Or
I'm not really sure. Yeah, as many as we
yeah.
can get. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
we're really different. You know, everyone from math groups to trading groups, or just yeah, anyone who's curious.
And going forward, so Raindex is the first app that you've written for using the Rainlang. Is that correct?
There was some earlier experiments, but this is the first one we're really, we're really putting a stake in the ground with. Yeah.
Okay. And what other areas is it all trading strategies, or have you got other ideas for using the Rainlang?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ideas actually. We built a prototype of a supply chain finance system last year. So that was using Rainlang. So then basically between you've got suppliers and buyers and funders. And in a P2P system where you want to have lots of different agreements, you want those agreements to be
Mm.
smart contracts, but you want there to be variance in what those agreements can be, a lot of variance. And also you want all parties to be able to read and understand smart contract. So Rainlang is like kind of a perfect fit for that because now the financial person in that company can actually read the smart contract. They don't have to be a Solidity auditor to
Mm.
read the terms of the contract. So it's like we're fitting into like a code is law future or a programmable money future.
Yeah, that makes great sense. You're right, because there's a lot of touch points, isn't there? Like with supply chain and different organizations and people. And traditionally, that's been run by faxes, isn't it? And supply chain is very archaic.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. Yeah, a lot of paper. So yeah, that's great. I mean, I was at an event last night in London, and there was someone from the Digital Pound Foundation talking about CBDC. I mean, I don't know if that would end up being probably not going to be an EVM thing. But just the idea stands that in a future where we have all money is digital and we want to have P2P smart contracts, if people can't understand those smart contracts, if it's only devs that can understand them, then we're sort of back where we started, where there's like special class of people that can actually understand what's going on, and a regular person just has to trust them because nobody can read the code.
That's clever. Okay, so that is actually really democratization of access to money, the programmable money. Anybody can
Correct.
read it and you don't have to code. Very interesting. So what's happening in your roadmap in the next, we're now in May. What's happening for the next couple of months? Anything major planned once you get over the competition, of course?
Yeah, so we're working on, obviously just continually working on the app, improving it.
Mm.
Um, we're going to be working on a leverage or lending protocol built into the app where people can basically make agreements between each other about lending funds for strategies.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so that's I think a nice extension
Mm.
of what we're doing. Yeah, so
Excellent.
that's kind of the next big major feature.
Okay. And if people want to find you, where do they go, Josh?
We are on Twitter.
Okay.
I think it's Rain Protocol. Annoyingly, we had the name Rain Protocol before.
Mm.
Should I send it to you?
And uh, Rain Protocol, excellent. And
Yeah.
if they want to, what, LinkedIn, you're on LinkedIn as well?
I am on LinkedIn. Oh, and me personally, I'm high on opium is
Okay.
my handle.
I'm not asking. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. And I really like the idea you're making smart contracts accessible to people, not just
Yes.
devs. So that's really interesting. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you.